Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reach the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right there. How the devil are we all? Did you sleep well last night? I actually did. I think it was that Leicester PSV game. I mean, there's exciting 0-0s, and then there's boring 0-0s, and I think that falls into the latter category. But hopefully this weekend we've not got the most boring game coming up. Teams might cancel each other out. Who knows? It could be the title decider. The winner of this would probably go on to be favourites to win the league, but it's going to be interesting. So we are going to be looking at the Manchester City Liverpool match. Kicks off Sunday afternoon. It's the late match on Sky. I just have to say that we are talking about challenging for the Premier League title here. I mean, both these guys have seen their team lift it. Even I've seen my team lift the Premier League trophy. But there's one team who hasn't.
It's time for the Daily Spurs.
It is. People, regular watchers will know. I just like to remind the Spurs fans every now and again how long it's been since they've won a trophy. And at the moment, it's 14 years, 38 days, 19 hours, 32 minutes, and 45 seconds. Never mind, Spurs. Maybe next season will be your season. Who knows? But let's get on with it. It should be the most exciting game. We will see. In the blue corner, let's bring him in and say hello to Bernard, a big Man City fan. Hello, Bernard. How the devil are you, sir?
I'm great, mate. I'm like you. I'm looking forward to it, and I think we said off air, didn't we? If you're a football fan, you can't look forward to these games, even if you're not a fan of the two clubs we're talking about today. If you're not looking forward to this, what's the point of football? What's the point of being a supporter if you can't get up for these sort of things?
This is it. I mean, obviously, I'm a Leicester fan. It's a Leicester channel, but this is one game. I say I'll put the show back so I can go and watch it. And because it is such a big game for this. Because I thought, in fairness, that Manchester, after a slow start, were walking away with it again. But thankfully, it's not turned into a one-horse race. Spurs, I mean, we know Spurs don't like horse races because they come third in a two-horse race. But let's bring the red corner in. Oh, sorry. First of all, Bernard, tell us how people... I mean, your details are in the YouTube description below, but tell people how they can find you.
Yeah, well, the easiest thing is just to go onto Twitter and at Bernard_Dineen, DINNN, and just find me on there. All my YouTube stuff, and I do various pods with other people, etc. Bolt from the Blues, one of the big ones. I do the podcast for them. So if you go on at Bernard_Dineen and on Twitter, and all my links are on there. So saves messing about.
Brilliant. And in the red corner. And in the red corner, if I press the right button, we've got Connor. Good afternoon, Connor. How the devil are you?
I'm very good, thank you, mate. Thank you for inviting us on. And yeah, I love that little Spurs counter. It's a nice little reminder for her. But yeah, hopefully everyone's having a fantastic day. And thank you for having me on, mate.
I'd like to say poor Spurs, but I don't think I will.
I know what it is. You just can't feel sorry for them, can you? You know. And Doug,
I'm not forgiving them for 81, mate. 1981. So that's that long live in my memory, mate. That's why I'll never forgive them.
Well, we will never forget the fact that they were singing "We're Coming for You" and in the title season, and we're still waiting. But anyway, I'm sure they'll get it. The sat nav must have broken. But Connor, from the Cop Council, how can people find you?
So yeah, the Cop Council, YouTube, Twitter, and all that good things. To be fair, I'm okay now. Come Sunday, I won't want to speak to anyone until probably 7 o'clock if things go right. But yeah, you can find me all there on YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah. Doug says hello, Bernard, and he also says hello, Connor, the man who doesn't like my jokes just as much as Chris. They are pretty bad, and mine are bad, so that says it all. First of all, I've got to say thank you. Let me just put you in order. Like, there we go. In fact, no, Bernard's at home, isn't he? So let's have you looking right. First of all, I'm going to say thank you.
I'm not at Anfield like Connor is. Obviously, I am definitely at home. Yeah.
I believe he has his own room.
I'd hope.
Yeah, it's in the toilet, but we won't go there.
Whoa.
But no, joking aside, I would say thank you so much to Liverpool, first of all, for making this season exciting for us neutrals. Because, I mean, it was at one point looking like a one-horse race.
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, Connor, I'm just saying, I was looking at the stats, obviously, doing my little vlogs, and the last 15 games, we've got equal points for the last 15 games, it's as simple as that. So there was never any massive gap. It was just how it panned out, if you like. Liverpool dropped those 5 points sort of around Christmas time, and we dropped the 5 points very recently. So it sort of balanced itself out, because literally we have the same points total for the last 15 league games each. So it is amazing, even though obviously Sky and all the media wanted it to appear as though it was over, etc., etc. Certainly as City fans, I've never met one City fan who even thought anything like that. So it was interesting, but say it did surprise. Well, it didn't surprise me, because when I think about it, yeah, that is right, because we literally dropped 5 points each, and that was the big difference, I think, when we were playing, and you got 2 or 3 games behind us. So it was as simple as that. There wasn't that big gap there, but there was a gap. But as I say, overall, we're sort of toe to toe.
I mean, I've got to agree with that. Just to pop in with this, Connor. I suppose I was guilty of, like you say, listening maybe too much to Sky Sports, but I was thinking, God, you know, you've quoted it back, but when I actually looked at the figures for some slides I've got later, you've not been that far apart at all. And Man City had their usual slowish start for a few weeks. Liverpool, I don't know, Connie. See, I like both teams. Do I want Man City to win it? Yes, in a way I do. Do I want Liverpool to win it? Yes, in a way I do. But the only thing with Liverpool, if you win it, that you're going to have 2 trophies compared to our 1.
It's a lot different than that. Like, of course, that game against at late December, I think a lot of people thought Liverpool were out the title race. I had the optimism after it and going, look, this Liverpool side, we've proven people wrong time and time again over the last couple of seasons. You know, last year, many people thought we wouldn't get Champions League football. We did get Champions League football. And to come back from as well, 14 points, I know, on the standard of it, Liverpool City, they've got, dropped the same amount at the equal time. But I think mentally as well, to come back from 14 points from when it was, Liverpool could have completely, gone downhill after that Leicester game and, then have been, 19 points, 20 points behind City coming into this game. But instead, we come back after the new year and just went for it again. And look, Liverpool shouldn't be here right now. We shouldn't be competing for a Premier League title with this, Manchester City side with the, money and all like that. But we're there. Jurgen Klopp's managed to get us there fighting against this Manchester City team. And Liverpool, I would say at the minute, are more in form than Man City at the minute. I haven't watched every game of Manchester City. I'm not going to lie. I've watched, of course, the Spurs game and a few other games. And City have been there, lucky here and there, I would say, at times. But you need that in a title challenge. You need that luck to be champions and so on. But I just think at the minute, Liverpool are on that level where we're playing just above the opposition and we're waiting to get into that third, fourth, fifth gear against, well, hopefully against this Manchester City side where, we'd hope it would be similar to, what happened in the Champions League a couple of years ago in that quarter final. But look, I'm very, very excited for this game. I think, judging from the game at Anfield as well, it's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be a nervy one, of course, for all of us involved, but it'll be an exciting one. And whoever does win this will go on to win the Premier League title.
I was going to ask that. Do you agree, Bernard, that the winner of this is going to go on and win the title?
Absolutely, probably yes. I would say
absolutely,
yes,
probably.
I mean, City would be 4 points clear. I can't see us losing it from there. Liverpool will be 2 points clear of City, but either way, neither team. We're going to do the old. We're not going to give up on it either way, are we? Whichever team wins, you're going to get all the sort of Pep and the players or Klopp and his players saying all the positive things. Obviously, if it doesn't go to plan. I just want to pick up Connor there about Liverpool shouldn't be competing about money as though we're governed by some sort of different rules to everyone else. We spend our money wisely. I don't quite understand that quote. I mean, if City could spend what we want, Liverpool and United and Chelsea won't be anywhere near us, but we have constraints on what we can spend. So I mean, I did take a little bit of umbrage to mention of money, but we're all governed by the same rules, and it's as simple as that. Perhaps we spend ours better. I'm not too sure, but you
say that it's like in the summer just gone, you were prepared to pay £220 million for two players on Jack Grealish and Harry Kane.
That? Where did you get that from? Who told you that?
It's simple.
I've never heard such rubbish in all my life. They only paid 100 million out for Grealish because there's no way they were going to get Kane. So they weren't going to pay 220 million because we wouldn't have paid 220 million. So I mean, you've got that from Sky or you've got it from somewhere. But which person has said that? Who's told you that? Who's told you that?
It's plain knowledge. You were going to bid £100 million.
It's just what people are saying. Which agent and which manager has confirmed that was the plan? City were going to spend 220 million. There was no chance City were going to spend 220 million. We don't do that. City don't do that. We don't spend that sort of money.
Well, I mean, from the outside, it appears that you do. I mean, whether you do or not, obviously, you will know better than anybody else. But, there is certainly sort of, I mean, I would look at Liverpool and say you spend a hell of a lot more than us. And you're a richer club than us. It's all what the media wants you to believe. Like you said, the media had built this game up to be, Liverpool coming back, the David and Goliath and what have you. And yet, like you say, when when I was looking at it, there wasn't that much difference. And Doug, Doug needs to get out more. He really does. I know he's a Liverpool fan, but Doug, you've got too much time on your hand. Since the start of the 18-19 season, Manchester City have taken 337 points and Liverpool have taken 336. I mean, yeah, that is, as he said there, absolutely relentless. But I just want to ask Connor, because we've taken a lot of stick this season. Like I say, we've having had 2 good seasons of then struggling this season. A few seasons ago, obviously, when you won the Premier League, I mean, you were winning everything there was. You know, all the cups, the Club World Cup, and it was like, you know, what didn't you win? And I thought, wow, this is going to be, because I can remember growing up in the period of when Liverpool were the dominant club. Yes, Man United, making it that Liverpool were the dominant club before Fergie. And it never happened. You just sort of went back to where you'd been the few seasons before, sort of fighting, but you'd gone from winning everything to sort of winning nothing.
It's a little bit more than that when you look at it. Liverpool,
well, of course it is. I'm seeing it from outside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the fact that, you know, last season, coming into the year, you know, Premier League champions, and I think all of us would have hoped, you know, we could have defended it a lot better. But of course, you know, all the injuries that we did have, you know, we didn't even know who was playing at centre back half the time last year. Which
I know that feeling.
Yeah, which was frustrating. And the fact that, you know, everything, of course, last year was horrible for, well, of course, last season and, you know, 2020 and 2021 was horrible for everyone. But of course, off the field stuff as well at Liverpool, you know, Jurgen, just the whole spirit of the club got, you know, taken down quite a lot, I would say. And it just needed a while to reset itself. And, you know, towards the end of last year, it was, you know, so important, you know, 2 lads in particular, I think, for the success of this season that many people don't mention and many media don't really mention, you know, Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. Without them 2, last year, we wouldn't have been in the Champions League, wouldn't be fighting, you know, we wouldn't have won the Carabao Cup and been in the Champions League and so on. And it was the fact that, you know, those last 10 games of the season last year, I think we drew 1-9, I think, in that space. And it was, you know, an unbelievable run that we went on. And this season, you know, not many people expected Liverpool to be, you know, anywhere near the top. A lot of, you know, people had Liverpool finishing 4th, even outside the top 4 as well, which was laughable at the time. And it's the fact that we've come back this season, I think, stronger than, you know, maybe a bit stronger than when we won the title, in terms of, you know, going for it again and again and trying to get back up there. Of course, you know, in the next 2-3 years, it might change completely. It might be, you know, Chelsea and, you know, someone else might, you know, finally come up. I don't think it will, but you know, if football changes, isn't it? And it's very quick to change.
You've said like Chelsea, we can, you know, with what everything they're going through, you can see how football's changing. I mean, I had Chelsea down to win the league this season. Shows what I know, doesn't it? But Bernard, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, football these days is a money. It is all about the money, you know. You watch. I mean, I watch ITV4 a lot and the Big Match Revisited. I mean, the tackles that are going in all over the place, and you look at the crowd, and you know, there's guys with caps on their head and what have you. Maybe I'm just getting too old, but it is a different world now, and I don't begrudge anybody having the money. You know, Newcastle, great. You know, guys, you go for it. You know, we happen to be bought by a rich person, a company. They got bought by a richer one. But I mean, Grealish, have you been disappointed with him? Because I mean, here we go, £1 billion man here. It doesn't all, you know. To me, if I spent £1 million on a player, I'd want him to be starting every week.
No, because the thing is, I mean, if anyone knows anything about Pep's teams, players very rarely in the first season for Pep actually show the best. It is you've got the odd exceptions, like Diaz is the exception to that rule, perhaps Laporte to some extent. But most of these players who he's asked to play in certain roles, and certainly where Grealish is being asked to play, I mean, we think, eventually he's going to use him as a false 9, but he's nowhere near that at the moment. So it does take a season for these players to bed in. And I actually did my little ratings at Christmas time for the half season, once we played 19 league games. And it's amazing. I mean, actually, I do the evening news ratings as well. So we did both. And Grealish was actually top of theirs in second in mine. And that was Christmas time. So we'd done a pretty good job considering it was his first season. But all this stick he's getting, I like Grealish. I think he's a good player. But he has to adapt, and I think most players would find it very. Pep's a hard taskmaster. I mean, it's not, he doesn't just do a few words before they go out on the pitch. It's literally week in, week out trying to get play.
Oh, and then Bernard froze.
Players to do certain things, and Grealish has got to learn that, and he'll be it'll be brilliant. It'll be brilliant. It'll be brilliant next season. I'm sure he will. But I've been quite impressed with him so far this season, personally. But yeah, like you said there, people are giving him stick, but I think it's totally unfair.
I know. I mean, it's a big move from sort of virtually keeping the Villa team going to now sort of just being part of a team, if you like. But it's the same with Mahrez. I know when you first bought Mahrez from us, it took him
a couple of years. It took Mahrez at least 18 months, 2 years to establish himself.
Yeah. But let's have a look. So, I mean, I've called it the title decider. You guys have sort of said pretty much the same. But, I mean, this is how it's looking. I don't know if you guys can see the screen at all there, but this is how it's looking. Like I say, I think it's Sky have been trying to build up their advertising revenue in saying that, but there's only a point in it. Man City, obviously, you are top going into that and you are at home. But I mean, the thing I'm looking at there is the green dots next to Liverpool. You have been absolutely relentless, like Doug said. I mean, the fact that you've got a grey and a red one there, Bernard. I mean, do you feel confident looking at that, Connor?
See, the thing is, in this type of game, form means nothing. Of course, it's great. Liverpool are I think we're 10 on the bounce now in the Premier League. It's brilliant to look at, but like I did say, I think this game it means so much, of course, to the outcome of the season. And as well, I don't think Liverpool have played to their best over the last couple of weeks, especially, against Watford and Arsenal. We didn't play unbelievable, but we won and got the job done. And that's what we did when we won the title. We didn't play amazing, but we got the job done. And I'm hoping, Liverpool can come out and straight away be on it, because I think you have to be in this game. You have to be on it from minute one. You can't allow, 20 minutes of laziness and tiredness to creep in. It needs to be perfect from the get-go to win the game. So looking on it, of course, Liverpool 10 on the bounce, brilliant in form, but of course games like this, form means nothing. It's how you do come out on the day.
I mean, Bernard, you've ground out the result against Everton there, 1-0. You think on paper that was going to be a 5-6-0, but I mean, what happened against Tottenham? What were you think? I mean, of all teams, come on, Tottenham.
Well, they're just one of those teams that can turn us over. They just have the players to do it, and I think they raise the game against us, and then roll over and let other teams tickle the tummies. This is typical. This typical Spuds. Interesting enough, I mean, again, and we do a lot of City podcasts, and we talk about momentum, and we've been saying, complimenting Liverpool on the fact they have got this momentum now. So we've got to try and break that momentum, because if we allow them to win at the Etihad, I can't see them losing it from that point of view, because they've got the momentum. You can see it there from the 5, you can see it from the 10 games. And similar to Connor, I was saying at Christmas time when we got this ridiculous lead and everyone was saying we'd won the title, we hadn't got out of second gear. We hadn't played that well in many games. And yet, so I was thinking, we haven't played well. That means if we start playing well, we are going to romp it. We are going to pull 20-odd points clear. And it never happened. So we've never, like Connor's saying with Liverpool, the last 2 or 3 games, I don't think City, apart from the odd game, have actually really done it this season. We've had odd players playing well, but not, as a team, we did well against Chelsea. back in January, and then you're struggling to find a game where we really pulled out the stops. Probably United, but I mean anyone can beat United. I mean that was another one that was obviously easy at the end of the day. But yeah, like Conor,
we beat United earlier in the season.
I mean, I think this season, I think both Liverpool and City, perhaps certainly City, are not as good as we were last season or the season before. And, we got stuffed last season, season before when Liverpool ran away with it. And I think this Pep City team this year is possibly one of our weakest for squad numbers. We're talking literally 14 players at the moment that we can say a definite would actually play in the first team, and the others you can just forget about them. So we are struggling a little bit this season, and it does worry me, the momentum of Liverpool. But it all really boils down to this 4:30 kickoff on Sunday, and if City can win it,
in fairness to you, Bernard, I mean the season started off really badly for you, losing to Leicester in the English Super Cup, didn't it?
It started badly, but the thing is, we sort of plough, like Conor was saying there, we sort of getting results to the fact that we do have good players in the team, but consistency-wise, we have not really hit a higher level of consistency this season, and that's been a big problem. As I said, I was totally shocked. I thought if we were near to Liverpool by Christmas time, we'd be okay. We were within 3 or 4 points. I didn't expect what happened. It was a totally abomination of what I thought was going to happen. But now it's all coming back to roost. And as I say, both teams, both Liverpool and City, perhaps haven't been convinced in the last 3 or 4 games. So it will be interesting to see who uses this as a sort of stepping stone to that last push for the last 7 games after this.
And sorry, I had to just remind you. I mean, some people call it the Community Shield, but in Spain they call it the Super Cup. So while we hold it, it's the Super Cup. Next season we'll just go back to the Community Shield. I want to say hi to Dan, big Burnley fan, big friend of the channel. I'm on his channel tonight at 9 o'clock. Doing the predictions, so catch us there. Good win for you the other night, and I know Burnley are in a game this weekend, but Burnley Norwich, it's got its 6-pointer thing, but it's not quite as big as it, Dan. Sorry, mate.
But please do the job so I can celebrate the F getting relegated. Please do the job.
Well, I mean. Just a sidetrack very quickly from a neutral's point of view, and I like to see the bigger teams go down every now and again, and I don't think it will do them any harm. Look where City are, and look where Leicester are when we were both not so long ago in the 3rd tier. But yeah, I'd like to see them go down and say a Luton or somebody like that come up. Early on in the season, Conor, it was 2-2. Do you think that was a fair result?
I won't lie. City in that first half destroyed us. I won't lie. Liverpool didn't turn up at all. But then that second half, I thought Liverpool were the better team. I would say a draw on the face of it was probably a fair result. I wouldn't say, though, if you were watching the game, I think, was it Kevin De Bruyne's goal got deflected and it went in the back of the net. I think, look, that Mohamed Salah goal, of course, he's been unbelievable this season in particular. But it's, again, I can definitely see the game going like that. For City, I think, Bernardo Silva played like Lionel Messi for 45 minutes. He was very, very good in that game, and I will give him credit there, as well as Phil Foden as well on that left-hand side. But I think the game will be something similar as well. Of course, in recent years, Liverpool and City, they've always, rose to the occasion. I remember back in 18-19 at the Etihad, it was, of course, City beat us 2-1. But that game, many people turn around and say it's one of the best Premier League games in history. The 2-2 was the best draw so far this season. I'd say yes. But I think, look, and I've seen many people saying Liverpool, as long as we don't lose this, it'll be fine for us. But for me, I don't want to be relying on teams like West Ham, Aston Villa, or things like that. I want Liverpool to be the ones to get the job done and to be the ones to go, look, we were the ones that pushed ahead of City and we did our job. I don't want to be like in, 18-19 when we were like, oh, Brighton might do a job, or this team might do a job. It's always relying on somebody else. I want Liverpool to be the ones to go, right, we were the ones to go over City, and we can keep then that gap going. I hope that we can do that, but of course football isn't like that sometimes, so I'm just hoping and praying.
Just a quick question: Has Salah learned how to take a penalty kick yet?
Yeah, he has, to be fair.
Sorry, go on. Give me my moment here. Give me my moment.
Well, to be fair, there hasn't been that many for Leicester this season, so I'll give it to you, to be fair.
Thank you. That's I can't deny it.
I think that, especially that game in particular as well, it was frustrating, because, again, it's a game we didn't turn up. And Leicester, to be fair, deserved the win with that. And that's what I'll always, like, if City beat us, fair play, they deserve it, and that on the weekend. But for me, at least, if Liverpool put out a performance that I'm like, okay, we did the job that we did and City beat us, then fair enough. But if we don't, that's the point then when I will get really frustrated.
Yeah. Bernard, Connor probably says overall 2-2 was a fair result. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, I think we let it. We were a bit disappointed that we didn't take more advantage of that first half display, which was excellent. As Connor was saying there, we were outstanding in that first half. Probably the best 45 minutes certainly this season for City. In all fairness, we've not really replicated that since that. And yeah, Liverpool came back in the second. I thought the second half was even. Obviously, on the end of it, it was even. It was 2-2, but I thought it was sort of give and take both ways. And absolutely. Great game to watch for the neutral. Some good goals, some cracking goals as well. Not just Salah's, but even the other goals were sort of the build up to it, not necessarily the way it was taken. But there was certainly one by Bernardo where he turned, as Connor was saying, where literally Phil Foden had put it in the net when Bernardo had literally left three Liverpool players on the bums or flat-footed. If Phil had scored that, it would have been replayed for years to come. It was absolutely a classic move and a classic play by Bernardo. But overall, we were fairly happy with that. It was a bit of a letdown after beating them 4-1 the season before, but we had to allow for the fact they had fans in. So
he had to just get that in, didn't he?
Well, that stymied it a little bit, the fact that obviously the fact they got the fans in. So obviously we'd never coped with that before. So I was quite chuffed to come away with the draw in all, with respect with that one.
I would say hi to Static for popping in. Thanks very much. It says great show, keep up the good work. And a big Arsenal fan, of course. Maybe one day, Static, we could be doing this for Arsenal and Tottenham. I doubt it. I really do doubt it. But you never know. Keep the faith, brother. Keep the faith. Looking at your, this is the your form table this season, and like I said, Man City always seem to have that bit of a slow start, but since then, and you can see, at the end there, it's been, you've been like two heavyweight boxers just slugging it out, haven't you, Connor? It's like who's going to fall down first?
Yeah, it is, and I think as well the main thing as well is just by that graph, the fact that Liverpool and City are miles ahead of the rest of the league. I know that we say and we talk about Chelsea and Manchester United. Chelsea and Manchester United, in some people's opinion, were going to finish above both Liverpool and City this season, which was never going to happen. I don't think it will happen in the next few years neither. I think Liverpool and City have taken this league and rose the bar up, that extra 10%. I was watching something earlier and said, could, the Manchester Uniteds back in, the 2000s cope with this Liverpool and City team? And it would be interesting to see, because Liverpool and City now, you have to win a league title by, 97, 98 points. Now, back then, you'd only have to get, 80, 82 points, and that would clinch you a league title. And it just goes to show where Liverpool and City have we've pushed each other to go and do better as well. But also, just leaving the rest of the league, far behind as well. And it just goes to show, how these two teams are the two best teams in Europe by a country mile. I think everyone's predicting, the Champions League final to be Liverpool and City by the end of the year. I think, Premier League title, obviously Liverpool and City. So it just goes to show that both teams are pushing each other, tremendously well, and leaving the rest of the league and the rest of Europe as well behind.
Yes. I mean, Bernard, do you just want the season to start in September?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's obviously various things, isn't it? I mean, every team had the problems at the start of the season, didn't they? And obviously, City seem to have more than other people, but it is what it is, mate, isn't it? I mean, I think Connor was saying there, I think last season was a bit of a, certainly from Liverpool's point of view, they sort of fell out, almost looked as though they're going to fall out of the top four. But we were saying again, even last season, as Liverpool had that run at the end of the season to take fourth spot, that we saw those as us, Liverpool and Chelsea, as the three main contenders for this title this season. And even at the start of the season, a lot of City fans were saying it's between us, Liverpool, and perhaps Chelsea. So Chelsea were obviously up there, but obviously it soon became apparent as the scene went on, as City started getting the victories, getting the wins. It was going to be a two-horse race again, as Colin said. Apart from last season, it's been like that for 4 or 5 years now, hasn't it? Since
funny you should say that.
Second year, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Dan just quickly said, looking at that graph, can see COVID is spiked in the inner cities. Yeah, coming from Burnley, I don't know that you should be saying that. But I'm very much critical of Scottish football. I mean, because it is a two-horse race, I mean, Brendan Rodgers, when he came to us, was getting great, praise for everything he'd done in Scotland, and he was on for the treble. But then again, half that time, most of his time there, Rangers weren't even in that top division. They'd been relegated due to the financial problems. So, I don't like that with the the fact that there's only the two teams. Do you feel it's getting that way now in the English side? I mean, you got Chelsea, but we don't know what's going to happen to them in the short term. Depending who buys them, they may not have as big a pocket.
It's got to be. It's cycles, isn't it, mate? At the end of the day, I mean, when Pep goes, we're going to see a sort of difference. When Klopp goes, Liverpool are going to see a difference. We're not going to get the same clones in the place. So these things go in cycles. You remember back to the Liverpool United days. Remember back to United Arsenal and Chelsea United. I mean, all these things, and it all of a sudden, because little City are up there, it's a big problem, and it's the end of the world, and it's not fair to football, and all this sort of thing. And these things go in cycles. City won't be up there all the time. Say when Pep goes, there's bound to be a change. Of course, hopefully we'll get someone better if that's possible. I doubt it, or might get someone who can win us the Champions League. That'd be nice. But it's cycles.
You might get Claudio Ranieri. He can win the odd trophy.
Well, I mean, it's just cycles, and it's just. Again, when things are going well for City, it's all doom and gloom. But all of a sudden, now we've got a bit of a competition again. It's fine, it's fine. Obviously, we've got the two teams again, but it'll change. As you said there, it could be Arsenal and Tottenham in 5 years. I doubt it very much, but
God help. And I'll tell you what, if it is and Arteta's still in charge, the Arsenal fans will still be demanding that he leaves. But, I mean, Connor, this is the form table. And I've gone down to 8th, literally, because I just want to show that Leicester have had a bit of form this season. It may have been late, but I had to just sneak us on the bottom there. I mean, that kind of...
Tottenham are doing very well.
Yeah. Well, you know what they're like. They'll finish third, even if it was a two-horse race, I mean... You're top there. I mean, you're not lost. You've got 6. You've conceded 1 goal. I mean, looking at that, like I say, it's like you're like the Black Knight in the Monty Python film, are you? You lose an arm. Oh, it is but a scratch. They'll carry on,
Yeah, no, it is. And look, I love it. The fact that, like we mentioned earlier, was it 10 games, 10 wins so far? And that massively comes down to squad depth. I agree earlier with the earlier comment about, Liverpool, I think, probably have a better squad than City at the present moment in time in terms of numbers. of course, you look at, of course, ahead to Sunday, you have the question of who does start up front for Liverpool. We've got, of course, Luis Diaz, since January, Diogo Jota, and then, of course, the normal front three. It's a question that probably will get asked this weekend. But again, it's the fact that as well, Liverpool, since I'd say probably the turn of the year, has had probably a fit squad as well. Coming into this game, no one's injured at the minute. We've literally got a full squad of players to choose from, so that's exciting, of course. But now we're coming into that final period of the season. You won't see Jurgen Klopp experimenting too much. You'll have his normal, and same with Manchester City as well. You'll have the around 15 players that you normally pick from now until the end of the season. But it's going to be interesting as well, because I think whoever wins this game in the league as well, I think might rest players in the FA Cup semi-final next week, which of course again is another huge game. But it's going to be, if of course what we think will happen this season, of course this could be a start of a trilogy for Liverpool and Manchester City. It could be this league game, the FA Cup semi-final, and of course the Champions League final. So it's interesting, and I love Liverpool being on the top. Just show that photo to Spurs and they'll be happy with that, to be fair. Reference the actual league title. But yeah, no, it's tremendous that Liverpool have got ourselves back into this as well. But of course, the quadruple talk's been a major talking point the last couple of weeks. Is it possible? Everything's possible, but of course it is very, very difficult to do. No one's ever done it. So, but if we could get another 2 trophies this season, it would be an outstanding season for Liverpool. But a quadruple, it would be nice, of course. But very, very impossible.
It's always going to be hard. Bernard, you're down in, well, I say down. I'd love to be down in 4th, but I mean, in fairness, it doesn't tell the true story, does it? I mean, it's only the last 6 games, but do you look at that and feel a little bit worried?
I'm not worried. As I said, we talk about momentum, and Liverpool have got the momentum. But the thing with momentum is you can knock it, you can stop it, you can stop someone's momentum, and that's up to City to do it. I'm a little bit, obviously, as Conor was saying, they've got a full squad. Our big loss, of course, is Diaz. If Diaz doesn't play, which I doubt he will, he wasn't even on the bench for the game the other night. So I think Diaz is out. So that gives Liverpool the opportunity, because we've certainly a lot weaker defensively without and he's a leader as well. Diaz, he's not just because of his skills. He's our new Vincent Kompany, if you like. He's the guy that makes the difference on the pitch as well. So that'll be good for them. But as I say, they've got momentum. We've got to stop that. I call it, when you talk about this possible 3 games, I've called it on my little thing, the War of the Rose, not the War of the Roses, the War of the Rose, because we've got the Battle of the Etihad, the Battle at Wembley, and possibly the Battle at the Stade de France. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting War of the Rose over the next couple of months if all things go to plan. But,
it would be interesting to see if you had 3 finals between you. It would be good for British football, of course.
Well, I'll tell you what, if one of the teams takes all 3, I mean, that would be devastating. But, you'd imagine that one of the teams is going to at least take one of them. So it'll be interesting which ones you prefer, etc.
And you just know that Manchester City won't take the Champions League, don't you?
Imagine if they knock us out of the FA, Liverpool win the semi-final, if they beat us at the Etihad, and obviously end of the season they win the league, and then it all comes down to a Champions League final. And that would just be devastating. I mean, we'll get over it. I'll get over it. It might take about a couple of hours, but I'll get over it, mate.
A couple of hours and lots of beer.
We've done worse. We've been to York away and stuff like that. We've done worse, so we'll get over it somehow.
Liverpool don't understand the Yorks away and the Yeovils on a wet Tuesdays. I mean, another thing you can't split you here is that Man City are the home team, and yet Liverpool are better at Anfield. Liverpool are away, and yet Man City are better away this season. I mean, it's literally, you cannot put a cigarette paper between these teams, can you, Connor?
No, you can't, and that just shows. With the tables there, it's unbelievable, isn't it? How evenly matched both teams are. Of course, at one point in between both, but it just goes to show again the levels that both teams are playing at the minute. It's unbelievable. And when we do look at it, of course, only one team can win the league. But I think that going, probably 10 years in the future, we'll look at these two squads in particular and go, they were among the best in the Premier League. I don't think you have to, of course, you have to win the Premier League, of course, to be known as the team. But I think, like we said earlier, I don't think you could put, the Man United team back 10 years ago, like the 2000s, and put them in the middle of these two, because I think these two will be far and above them. But of course, football's changed tremendously, and like we've said before, these two teams have completely destroyed English football and European football as well. One team has anyway, European football. So I'm just going to say that. But it is tight.
Yeah. Bernard, if I said to you now, okay, look, you're going to lose tomorrow or Sunday, and you're not going to win the Premier League, but you'll get, all the FA Cup. You'll lose both of those, but you're going to win the Champions League. Would you take that?
Yeah, I think most, let's face it, most City fans of my age aren't overly worried about it. We worry about it on the basis that we get totally stick for it all the time. And that's the only reason I want to win it, in all fairness. I'm not that bothered either way. I'll be happy with anything. I'm happy with an FA Cup. I'm happy with anything. It doesn't bother me. I'm an old City fan. Of course we want to win it. But I just want to get the monkey off my back, the monkey off the back. That's all I want to do. It's as simple as that. And when we win it, you'll have Liverpool say, oh, well, we won it 6 times. You'll have United saying, oh, we won it 3 times. Black Forest saying, we won it twice. Villa said, oh, you know better than us. We've won it once. So you're going to get that anyway. Even if we win it the once, it doesn't make any difference. We're still going to get either way. But I just want to win it and get it on that, get it on the old list of trophies. We won it. Be nice. And we should have really won it last year. Possibly we should have won it the year before that when we got knocked out by Lyon. But I think the two teams we had last year and the year before were far better than the team we've got now. But as we know, it's not always the best team wins the cups, is it? No. We know that from last season. Chelsea weren't the best team in Europe last season when they won the European Cup, and that's just what cups are. You have to have a bit of luck, little different things, and that's all there is to it. But
they certainly couldn't win the FA Cup, could they? Oh, I've got to get.
You said to me now 1 of 3. Yeah. If you said to me 1 of 3, I'd say the league title. But if we end up just winning an FA Cup, I'd be happy with that. I would be happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, we know sort of in that Champions League final, Pep got a lot of criticism for who he picked and from etc. Is he going to have the same problem tomorrow, or do you have faith that he knows what he's doing now and he's going to get the right team out there?
All right now, because he doesn't have a lot to choose from. As Connor was saying there, he's down to his last 14, 15 players now that he can rely on. So when I try and pick a team we're
not going to feel any sympathy for you. You know that, don't you?
That's not me, but that's what I'm saying. We've got more players, but all I'm saying, he knows in his mind eye, like the fans know our best 14, 15 players. Liverpool fans more or less know their best 14, 15 players. So he doesn't have to put anything to the Champions League. It was one player. He picked one player different that actually, for all City fans, just totally blew that Champions League final. It was only 10 out of 11. 10 out of 11 of what most fans thought. But it was that one player made the big difference to the team. But I'm sure Pep and Klopp know what they're doing tomorrow, know what they're aiming for, and whether they want to go and be positive and win it, or they want to be a bit more negative. I think it'll start a bit like I was talking off air about the 1-1, Connor. I don't think you were with us then. The 1-1 at the Etihad last season, where both teams went for it in the first half. City missed a penalty just before half-time, KDB, if you remember. So we went in at 1-1. And both teams in the second half thought, oh, we'll stick at that. We'll not try and win it. And I'm a bit worried this will happen in this one if someone doesn't sort of... get a 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 goal cushion or something like that. God forbid, a 3-goal cushion. That'd be nice for someone, wouldn't it? But I'm a bit worried it might get a bit like that. And if it does, I think both bosses will be happy with the draw, because I think both bosses and fans, sets of fans will think we can still win this from here, even if it ends a draw. So I don't think Pep will overthink this one tomorrow. I think he more or less knows the team. I'm hoping the team I put out on my little thing, I get at least 10 or 11 out, 10 out of 11 with what I picked, because he
and
doesn't
what way
have
do
a
you
lot.
think he's going to play then? What formation style do you think he's going to play? And then we'll come.
Yeah,
to
I mean, the defense picks itself. If you haven't got Diaz playing, it just picks itself, because we don't have any options. We don't have any options in defense. So obviously you're going for Edison as the goalkeeper. Obviously, then you're going Walker, Laporte, Stones, and Cancelo. That's your back. You've got Rodri, defensive midfielder. You've got KDB and Bernardo in the middle, and then it's always the front three that's always the funny one with Pep. I think he'll play Grealish tomorrow instead of Sterling, because let's face it, Sterling is pretty abysmal against Liverpool most of the time. So I'm hoping he'll play Grealish, and obviously you got Foden and Mahrez, and literally the only ones we're missing out are people like Jesus, who's borderline anyway. So he's not, and Gundogan's another one. He's another funny one, but Gundogan, he probably saves more for Europe anyway because of his style of play. But Gundogan could be stuck in. But that's it. There's no one else I can really think would even come into the equation. So, as I say, it's more or less picking itself at the moment.
And Connor, how do you think Klopp's going to react?
I think with the best we possibly have. Look, I think, again, like Man City, I think the team picks itself. I think it'd be Alisson Becker, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Of course, he was missing in the previous game, so it'd be nice, for him to play against City. I think then Joel Matip, Virgil van Dijk, and Andy Robertson still complete the back. Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, and Thiago as well. It'd be interesting to see how Pep deals with Thiago, because I think Liverpool are a completely different animal when Thiago is in that team. We haven't seen enough of him against like the top teams, in this situation with Thiago, so it will be interesting. And then I think you'll go tried and trusted a normal front three of Sadio Mane, Bobby Firmino, and Mohamed Salah.
Scares me, that does, when I think about it from both teams. I asked Bernard this earlier, and I'm going to ask you as well, Connor. I mean, Champions League, you've won it more times than any other English team. You do like a Champions League trophy every now and again. Would you give up the Premier League if you knew you were going to get the Champions League?
No, I want to win the Premier League. And the other thing as well, that the reason why I personally want to win it, I want to celebrate it properly. We won the league title, when we couldn't do anything about it. And I want to be able to, see my friends go and celebrate winning a league title. Of course, can win the Champions League, here and there. Of course, big years is tremendous winning the Champions League or any European competition. But, as well for Liverpool getting that 20th league title, to tie it up with Man United as well. That's another huge thing in the history of the club. So, yeah, for me, priority is Premier League.
I think you will go ahead of Man United. I can't see them coming back for a few years, to be honest with you. Doug's put his team there: Alisson, Trent Alexander, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, Salah, Mane, Jota is the way that he would go. We might have one or two of those players if they go in spare. Doug, won't be greedy, just wanted to. But we were talking earlier about how the media have built this up, and it's Liverpool coming back and giving, making the title interesting again. And as I said earlier, I'd bought into that, and I was really surprised when I looked back. Just showing I do sort of do some prep for this show. It might not look like it, but I do. I mean, after 10 games, it was Chelsea who were top and Liverpool who were second. You then jump on to 20 games, and Man City are 11 points, but we've got a game in hand. And it's very hard this season to say, because we've all been at different stages of our games at different times because of cancellations and what have you. And then you move on to 27 games at the end of February, sorry, and there's the 6-point gap. And then say we're down to 1 point. I'm just hoping that we're not bigging this up too much. I mean, we know Sky will, Sky are probably creaming about it already. Do you know what I mean? The two teams. It'd be like nobody else is playing this weekend. You know, we're playing on the Sunday, but thank God we're not on Sky because we'd never get a mention. Can either of you see this? And I think your players are not going to freeze. They're not going to sort of worry about this. They've been to bigger games, no disrespect, but bigger games than this, like say in Europe and cup finals and what have you. But can Connor stick with you for this one first of all? Can you see it petering out and just being sort of a boring 0-0?
No, I don't think it'll be a boring 0-0. If we're thinking draw, then yes. If you look on the face of it, I think many people would think it might be a draw. And then, of course, then both teams, well, especially, if it does draw, Liverpool will be hoping that City can drop points somewhere down the line. And, I think, I don't normally like Gary Neville's opinions on football at times, but, he did put it, quite rightly, back a couple of years ago, even 6-7 years ago, where you'd have this running and, the top teams would drop points going into the last 6-7 games into the season. And quite obviously, Liverpool and City, they haven't done that when we're going into this race, 18-19, for example, everyone was like, oh, surely Liverpool would drop points, surely City would drop points. And we never did. City, fair play, beat us by a point. Normally, 97 points would win you a league title by a country mile. And it didn't that year. And again, we talked about it earlier about the levels that both teams have gone up. And I think that's, again, a sign of how this game is. This game is a must-win for Liverpool. I know many Liverpool fans will be out there and going, "Oh, well, if we don't, if it's just a not lose game, like if we go draw there, we can then hopefully rely on other teams." But like I did say earlier, don't want to rely on other teams. If you can get the job done now, and then focus, because I think mentally as well, I think this is a huge battle because if City go ahead 4 points. You then go, Liverpool have to get back up then again and you hope again that something can happen. But I think if Liverpool win and go forward, and then if we beat the teams like Manchester United, Everton, and, keep, winning and keep going, City then might go and go, oh, well, they're keeping on winning. We can't do anything. And they might drop their heads and then they might go, say if they're in the Champions League semi-final, they might go, right, we're just going to put all our eggs in the Champions League and go for that. So whoever does win, I think, will, like I said earlier, will go on to win the Premier League. But then I think mentally it's a huge, huge game. And I think if Liverpool did win, I think, of course, City, I think, would then bow their heads a little bit and might then look at that Champions League and go, okay, we're going to put our full focus into that.
Yeah, thanks to Scott. Thanks for popping in, Scott. Take care, mate. I hope everybody's well. Bernard, as I say, I've seen this over the years, great FA Cup finals that have petered out into sort of like, let's say bore draws, but, not lived up to the hype and the build-up. I mean, I say, really, this is like, Mike Tyson going up against Lennox Lewis, isn't it? And then one of them sort of, after 12 rounds, they're still stood there just hitting each other. But can you see this, not living up to its up to the hype?
I think the thing is with Liverpool and City, when City are on form, they start games at a blistering pace and they move that ball about and they're smart and quick. And Liverpool are identical. When they start these games and they're up for it, they're at your throats. They're pressing, they're doing all the things you're supposed to do. And City are a similar breed. And if both these teams, which they should do, while there's 90 minutes on the clock, they're going to go. I think both teams will go for it. While there's 70 minutes on the clock, both teams will go for it, and it'll go all the way down. And very rarely does City settle for a draw or anything like that. We'll always push anyway, even if we've lost games. We lost a couple last season, unbelievably, when we equalised with about a minute to go, and then we ended up losing injury time because we're still pushing for another goal. Because we
don't talk to me about that one. Don't talk to me about that one. The Spurs game.
So that's what we do, and that's what City do. And I think tomorrow, as I say, I think both teams. I think as long as Klopp Klopp's positive, which sometimes he hasn't always been positive at the Etihad. I mean, this is why they've not got the greatest thing at the Etihad. But as long as they were more positive last season, but as I said, by half time, they said, right, we'll take what we've got and we'll leave it at that. So I don't think that'll happen tomorrow. I think this will be, as long as there's minutes to play on that clock, I think both teams will try, even if it's a 2 or 3 goal margin for one or the other. I think they'll still keep trying, and that 2 or 3 goal margin might turn into a 5 or 6 goal margin. You never know. You could have a cracking game like that. Which I'm not putting my hat on. Which side. I'm
talking of a 5 or 6 goal margin. Let's end with this. your predictions now. I normally just go win, draw, lose, but obviously I know you're both going to go for wins for your team. So let's go for actual scores. Connor, first of all, let's start with you. And I do apologise. I've only just noticed that I've picked a picture with no Man City player in there.
Oh, well, typical. That's the media against us again, you see.
That's Sky. Blame Sky. Blame Sky. I'm not against you. Blame Sky. It was a Sky picture.
Oh, there you go. Well, Sky, the media, exactly. That sums up Sky. So I won't believe anything they tell you.
But Connor, give a score prediction.
Oh, screw it, 8-0. No, I'm kidding. I think. Look, it'll be close. It'll be close. It'll be that odd goal. I think I'm going Liverpool 2-1. Again, it's going to be close. It's going to be well thought out, and hopefully by the end of it, Liverpool will win. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-1.
And Bernard?
Yeah, well, I'll have to be boring, mate. I'll have to say the same, but the other way around. Obviously, my thoughts. I've just been doing my little odds show, which I do for the, to try and come up with the value on the old bookies for the different score lines and everything like that. And I'm totally flummoxed. I'm totally nowhere near. I have no idea when it comes down to it. So I'm going to offer some advice and say, well, anything could happen. But I will. I've actually predicted on my little odds show it'll be 2-1 for City as my correct score. So I'll stick with that.
If anybody watches regularly the prediction show I do, you will know how it has been so, not just for me, but for Brad and Steve Lynix, the ex-player as well, to actually predict correct scores this season. It's just like who knew Brentford would go to Stamford Bridge and win 4-1? So totally useless at this. But I looked at this and I tried to put some sort of logic into it. And I know maybe logic and football don't go together, but I just couldn't split you. I mean, if you look at everything we've looked at today, you can't get, like I say, a cigarette paper between you. So I'm going to be really, really boring, and I'm going to go a 1-1 draw. Because I can't go either way. And like I say, I don't mind if Man City win. I'm nothing against Man City. I remember when we were both, I don't know if it was the same time as well, but when we were both been down to the 3rd division, so we both had similar sort of stories. Yours obviously a bit better than ours. Liverpool, I grew up with Liverpool being Man United of the time. They were winning everything, great managers, Bill Shankly, Bob Paisley. I'm just glad that it's you two going for this and not Man United or Arsenal, to be honest with you. But I can't split you. I literally can't split you. As indeed cannot Doug. Doug's gone for 2-2 there. So he's having the same problem as me. They say, let's hope football's the winner. It's an old saying, and I'm an old man. But I mean, at the end of the day, I just hope that it does live up to its hype. And I hope it's an entertaining game that as neutrals we can sort of enjoy. Even if it's a draw, let's hope it's an entertaining draw. I wish you both the best of luck, and I wish you both the best of luck in the FA Cup and the Champions League as well. Thank you for keeping those aforementioned teams off it. But let's just go again. Connor, thanks for coming on. Your links are in the chat below on YouTube. Just remind people how they can find you.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on, mate. I've enjoyed this. Hopefully, I get to rub it in on Monday morning. But if not, I'm hiding for a week. No, I'm kidding. I've got Champions League next week. So, but yeah, the Cup Council, YouTube, Twitter, and all that good stuff as well. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on, mate.
Not a problem at all. Thank you for coming on, and I say good luck. Bernard, how can people find you?
Yeah, cheers, mate. It's been a pleasure to be on. Yeah, I mean, because I've got a strange name as well. Literally, if you put Dineen, D-I-N-N-E-N, in any search engine, I usually pop up anyway, so that's great. But you can follow me on Twitter. I try and follow everyone back. I do check every couple of days.
I'll check. So is that on Pornhub as well?
Yeah, that's the one. You know me very well, mate. You know, you've got me sussed at Bernard_Dineen, but Dineen spelled D-I-N-N-E-N. But if you put any sort of spelling in, it usually comes up with me because there's not many guys with my name about. Much appreciated, mate. Thanks for having me.
No problem, though. Thanks for coming on. And like I said, for good luck to both of you. But thanks so much. And Doug says he needs to get you on his channel soon. So,
yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yeah. Just don't expect his jokes to be funny. That's all I'll say. Thanks very much, mate. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Thanks to both guys. That was great. I mean, from a neutral's point of view, I'm going to be sat there. I'm going to get my popcorn out. I'm going to get my beer out, and I'm going to try and enjoy the game. Of course, it will be more fun if Leicester had just beaten Crystal Palace. So fingers crossed that we're going to have that. Pop back tonight, 7 o'clock. I am interviewing and doing a show with Jonathan Morgan. You may or may not know was the manager of Leicester City Women that got us promoted to the Premier League. He is no longer that, but he's coming on and having a chat. So looking forward to talking to him about the women's football game and how he got involved. He says that's 7 o'clock. Thanks a lot for listening. If you've been listening on the podcasts, it's been going strength to strength. Thank you so much. We're on all the podcast platforms as Leicester Till I Die. And if you're watching it on YouTube, again, thank you very much. Thanks to everybody in the comments, Doug, Nippon, Static, Scott. Thank you all so much for coming in and joining. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you at 7 o'clock tonight. Take care, stay safe. And whoever you're supporting, good luck this weekend.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.